Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what? I hope this isn't about your podcast again. Why, did you finally listen to it?
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. The Groomer Next Door production.
Kittens, and welcome to another video podcast. This is episode number 13. I'm your co-host Chris Green. Sitting next to me, as always, is the fabulous Sarah.
Hello.
Well, as you can tell, this is a pit bull. If you can't tell, well, this is a pit bull.
And some people are like, no, it's not.
Yep. Well, actually, it is.
It's a mix.
I was gonna say that.
And she ends up being a lot smaller than we originally anticipated when somebody called us to say, hey, can you please go get this pet?
Right.
Okay. And then she's so tiny.
Well, here's the backstory on this little girl. She was abused, terribly abused, actually. She was left outside throughout all the elements. Didn't matter if it was rain, sleet, shine, terrible storm, didn't matter. She would always be chained up outside. When we actually picked her up, she had ecoli. Poisoning. She had a terrible phobia of guys because she had been physically abused by God who only knows how many. And as we're saying it, she's sitting right next to us as we're recording this. This is kind of funny. So this is actually her second bath. You gave her a real quick one.
I had to.
Right.
The conditions she came from were awful. She stunk to high heaven, and she also was just all her white was black. Just absolutely black. So I gave her a real quick bath because we had to get going. I had to leave work to get something done. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to do this real quick.
Real quick. So this is actually like her first full-on bath. So what you're going to experience was, well, her first experience as well. And it's funny because as I say this, she is right next to me. She's in between you and I as we're actually recording this, watching the video as we're talking. But it was a bad situation. She just didn't know how to even live inside. Remember her first night that she was here? She just kind of was, lost.
Yeah, she didn't know that it was okay to sit on something fluffy.
Right.
She didn't know it was okay to sit next to somebody. She just didn't know. But this way, she will not sleep anywhere but a bed. Oh, yeah.
And we have multiple dog beds in the house. And so she'll either be in the one that's in the bedroom that Katana loves to sleep in every night, or she comes in. We actually had one in the kitten room, but because we had such young kittens, we moved it. And we put it in the living room, and she'll go in the living room and actually crash out there. She crashes out on the couch, but mostly in the dog bed, the globe one that we have. That's her favorite one.
That is definitely her favorite. It's the thickest, it's the highest up, and it's got a brim where she loves to lay her head on. And then lately, her favorite thing to do is to lay on the globe bed up front, and while our kittens that we have right now are little, 4-week-old, 5-week-old, 5 or 6.
I don't know.
Week-old kittens run around and play.
Let me stop you right there. Now, as you can see, I'm putting a little thing on my hand. That's actually for horses. But I use this because you can't use a slicker brush on a dog. It'll hurt them.
Yeah, not on something this short a coat.
But I use this.
It works pretty good.
It works great. You've never seen it.
I've never seen it in action.
Yep. It is amazing. It's just like a regular Zoom Groom, but it fits on the hand. and it actually works great. I mean, it gets right down, right to the skin.
And it gets all the flakes and debris off.
And as you can see by the movement, I mean, it gets everything. It is my favorite. It is my favorite toy I have.
And she just sat there like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Well, as you can tell, she's kind of standing up. She's like, I want to look over, which a lot of times they do. I use my slip lead on a dog like this because I didn't know her reactions. So I used my slip lead, which worked out great.
Did she holler?
No, she never hollered.
She hollered with me. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, I don't think she hollered even once. She didn't, as you'll see when we get up to drying. She wasn't a big fan of drying. And this one is going to be our very first episode where we're going to actually do nails. And you're going to see that. Now, that's a challenge, and we'll get to that as soon as we get there.
Especially with it being her first time ever getting nails done.
Oh, boy, yeah. Yeah, it was, she's just, and it'll come to a lot of an example why you want to get your dogs in right away for actual nail trimming. But I'm sorry, I know I interrupted you and derailed you, but I wanted to point out the actual
That's fine.
brush.
I was just talking about how she loves curling up on her bed with her kittens and letting the kittens jump up on her, and she sniffs them, and I don't know, she is so good with little tiny kittens,
Right.
especially when the people who had her first said that she could catch a bird out of the sky.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. So I didn't know her level of acceptance of other animals.
No, you can't talk.
She doesn't.
She's literally at mouth reach to the mic right now, wanting to say something. Do you want to say anything? No?
No, row.
No, raw. It is funny. I mean, she is the first dog that we've actually recorded this and had, right here. And, I mean, Katana's been in our video blog. We've had all kinds of different dogs, but she's just like, nope, this is about me. This is my story. She actually I trained her to be off-leash trained, which I love the off-leash trained stories. Which off-leash means is that I can open up the door, she goes outside, she goes to the bathroom, and doesn't run away.
She stays in our yard.
Stays in our yard and comes back to the command home or house. Or I like to do a little...
When do we ever say home?
I've said
house or inside?
Yeah, but Claire will say home. Claire says home. She'll go home. Sometimes she'll say home. She does. And she learned right away. So I'll just say okay, house, and they come right back in, which is great. Now one of her favorite meals. Her favorite meals is cat poo, isn't it? Yeah, it is. She does enjoy the cat poop, and she was the first dog that we've ever dealt with that actually enjoyed eating out of the litter box. I thought at the beginning, and so did you, it was just some kind
malnourishment.
Malnourishment, or needed vitamins. But no, it is very common for dogs to actually eat cat poop. Another thing that we're trying to break her on is she loves to mouth. Mouthing is very common with dogs that were never played with when they were actual puppies. So their way of playing with you is putting your hand in their mouth and not biting down, but just moving around, just having that in their mouth.
And then they use their tongue to go up against your hand or something, and it's like, stop doing that. And
the term is called mouthing. As you can see, I'm washing out the actual hand glove itself.
Because believe it or not, a dog hair that's this short still sheds.
And it gets stuck in this. That's the only drawback behind this glove, this little horse thing. Horse glove. I don't even know what the term is for what its actual thing is. Horse slicker? Oh no. But it does catch on to the hair, and even when it dries, it does stay, so it's a little difficult. But back to the mouthing. That is one of our little traits that we have been trying to break this little monster of because she loves to do it. And again, it's just because she never had anybody to play with her. She was a dog that was put out in the front yard and left there. I mean, kind of sad in itself. But as you can tell, she handles the water just fine. She didn't have a problem with anything. It's kind of weird.
We do need a different hose nozzle. This one wasn't our choice.
None of this has been our choice.
So we have to work with the tools and the equipment that we have. If it was more of our perfect world on how the equipment is bought, that nozzle would have a mist
Yeah, this one...
This one doesn't have a mist.
No.
And most garden hoses have mist setting.
Yeah.
You put it on the mist, you put it relatively close to the face, and it just a few drops that goes on, but enough to cover the face, but not too much to make them think that they're rushing water.
Right.
This, unfortunately, just wasn't very...
This setting on this one doesn't have a couple of my favorite settings that I'm going, why? I don't know. It doesn't even have the strength for the projectile kind of, I don't know, the shower one for double coated. This one doesn't have it, which is very difficult. But
ooh, your suds are getting too high.
Yeah, well, what can you do? It's during a time when this is going to be our very last video podcast done at this tub. I don't like this nozzle. I don't like this tub. Any other things you want to tell?
Just that your suds are too high.
Well,
they're getting back on her.
Man. I was more concerned with her during this time.
She did. I'll tell you that she did much better this time around than when I had her.
You wouldn't actually realize when you watch this that she was male aggressive. You wouldn't know it to see it that she had.
Well, I wouldn't say male aggressive. She was male shy.
Male shy. That's probably better. Well, let's move on to drying.
Yeah, but you did get all that stuff off.
Yeah, she didn't have
the tub, and she didn't have extra soap on her.
Right. And drying was a little bit of a challenge because
I didn't dry her.
Yeah, this is her very first time ever being dried.
The dryer that I did was a towel and let the air dry because it was such a nice day that time.
And this dryer is very low velocity, very low. So you would use it typically on the head area. I used it on her body to move slowly because I didn't know if the sound was going to be too much for her. Again, this is where dealing with a dog with special needs, you have to use different kinds of techniques. Knowing that obviously she had dealt with a lot of trauma over her year or two. I don't know how old she is. About 2 years?
Yeah.
Roughly around that. So, knowing that she had dealt with so many issues, we wanted to make sure that it was going to be as least abrasive on her as possible. Obviously, as you can see, giving her a lot of support, letting her know it's okay by petting her. This way I'm able to dry her underbelly, and I'm able to just kind of work around her.
And you notice, too, she's not yawning. She's not showing signs of stress.
Yeah.
She just, if you get a dog a choice to get blow dried or go run in the field, they're going to go run in the field. You know what I mean?
I think you give that choice to a lot of people, and they would choose to go run in the field.
Bingo.
She was good. I mean, we had to work on just the comfort zone, and that was the big issue that I felt she needed. She was just good. At this point, this is one of those little techniques, just kind of, in a sense, give a hug.
Embracing them.
Embrace, hug. Sometimes a dog, when you're who has special needs like this, the almost kind of thunder jacket type mentality, where you kind of hold them, it works wonders because that support, they're not going to move much, and they're more accepting to the situation. And as you can tell, she's probably kissing me, or I'm kissing her at this point. I don't know.
Either way.
There's
love.
Yeah. And, this is what goes on with every one of our dogs that come in. It doesn't matter if she has special needs or not. This is just the typical. But you tend to be a lot more observant now than you would, for say, if it was a dog that comes in every 4 to 6 weeks.
I'm just looking around. I'm like, oh, that's the day Maggie was there.
See, this is why we don't do video podcasts, because you end up going, ooh, shiny.
I remember that day.
I hardly remember the day. I know I went live that day and kind of teased this, but that was a couple weeks ago. And since we've had so many people on the actual audio podcast, I was kind of like, well, when are we going to put this on?
There is a little piece on the tip of her nose, or not the tip of the nose, but right where her white is on her snout. There is a pink spot.
Yeah.
And I never asked why it was there. I didn't want to find out. I just wanted to get her and go. But somebody who knew her and knew the family that the dog came from said that was a wound that was on her nose for months.
Right.
And that's the reason why none of the color came back to that area, and hair hasn't grown back in that area.
And what's funny is that we keep saying that she's a pit bull, but apparently she's, and we have very little, we don't have confirmation, but the source,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It said it was, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The lady said it was a pit bull mixed with a Dalmatian.
Right.
So how in the world do you get a dog this small with both Dalmatian and pit bull?
I don't know. That is a good question.
And there's no actual spots.
She's a stand and hug.
Nope.
Yeah.
She got a little squirrely.
Yep. It was pretty much time to just say, all right, let's move on to nail trimming. Now, this is the first time we've done a nail trimming on the video podcast. Now, as you can tell, and I'm personally, this is me, I like using the grinder. I find it less abrasive, and you have very little chance to actually quick a dog.
Yep.
So for me, and every groomer is going to have their own methodology. This is mine. I've really found that this is a lot easier. Now remember, she's never had this done. She's never, nothing ever happened for her. So she's going to be a little bit more squirmy than normal. And most dogs, actually majority of the dogs, after they've gone through our little process, they understand what's going to happen. A lot of dogs, I think that was Oliver who was meowing. A lot of our dogs that come through, first timers, have had other experiences with regular trimmers, and I'm not going to criticize too much put to it because it does work, but a lot of groomers just go right to the quick.
Yeah, and it's, like you said, it's a lot less of a chance of quicking them. Now, another thing, too, is that we have a lot of customers that come in, and they're older customers who have a problem with thin skin.
Yeah.
And so when they scratch them open, it takes a long time for their skin to grow back properly. Well, you grind them down, the likelihood of them cutting the dog, or cutting their owner, has gone down a lot.
Right.
From just trimming them.
Right.
And then if you grind the nails down where they're flat, and not flat up against the ground, so when they walk, it's flat to the ground, but up and down from the ground.
Right.
That way, when they're walking, they file down the bottom part on their own as they grow. And when they come back, all we have to do is take that tip off again.
Right.
And it keeps the quick back.
Now,
but I didn't want to do the nail grinding on her because it was just me with a new dog that I have no clue what it's about.
Right.
Now, she's never needed to have her nails ground down because she was outside 24/7.
But at this point, she did.
But at this point, yeah.
She's and this is a good example of a dog that had never had her paws played with, and that's something that a lot of groomers will face on a constant basis. Is that this is a rare case. A lot of times when you have a first time nail trim of a dog, they will bite, and this is the exact point of why I was like, this is perfect to do. You can tell she's just like, nope, not going to have it. And yep.
Oh, I was just saying to notice what you're not doing. You're not pulling on her.
Nope.
You're not grabbing her and pushing her down.
Nope.
You're not grabbing her scruff.
Nope.
You're not pushing her up against the wall. You're trying to get her to have confidence that you're not going to hurt her.
And if you look at the way I'm sitting, there's actual reason. One of the reasons why I like this kind of position that I put myself in. I'm trying to have her sit on my lap. Our Great Danes, you saw it back in the progressions of a Great Dane. I start off a dog when, especially a puppy, is I want them to sit on my lap, especially a bigger dog. That gives them the comfort to actually be in that, like I had said earlier, that thunder jacket kind of position. And that way, they get used to it. Now, with her, she's chewing on my lead right now. No, don't chew on my lead. That's my lead. But, she has plenty of line to actually move, so she's not choking herself as well. That was another thing that drives me nuts, is make sure that they're not choking themselves. A lot of times in this case, the back paws are a lot easier to do a nail trimming than the front. The front are always the hard ones. A lot of dogs don't care about their back paws as much. So you get somewhere. She was not that case. She was like, no, I'm not going to have that. But, as you can tell, she wasn't what you call cooperating. But you got to work with her. And she had a lot of, another thing that I didn't even mention, she has a lot of issues in her back end.
Yeah, she doesn't like being touched. She's been kicked several times in her back end. So touching her when she's not ready for it or she doesn't want it to happen results in her flipping, turning real quickly to get you to get away from her back end.
And if you notice, I see that it's the back left. It's a little bit harder to see, but she's comfortable at this point, so I'll work around her.
Yes, working around the pet is so important, especially if they're not going to sit the way you want them to. So you need to move. You need to readjust, not the dog.
Right. And, again, I know that she has issues. If you notice, I'm moving her back end. I know she's not going to bite me. Now, if this was another situation, I would have a little bit more caution. I remember when she was when she was in the vet for getting spayed, the one nurse, I think she's a nurse, I'm not entirely sure, but she went to move her and, just the typical pick up, and right away she snapped. Like I had said, she won't bite, but she'll do that kind of momentary where you wonder. She does it a couple times in this video, but, you have to know the dog. You have to be able to read the situation. Really read the situation. But, she does let you do it at some point, and you kind of, at times, have to go at their pace. And, this is one of the biggest issues that I think we can say we see a lot is groomers don't want to take the time to actually work with the dog. This is an everyday occurrence.
Yep.
This is not just a one and done. This is how it is. Well, I think that kind of comes to I'm actually going to do some ear cleaning. Take an ear cut. See, there's another thing. Didn't mention this. Put cotton balls in her ears just in case any kind of water got in there. Now I'm actually going to clean her ears.
And you can put some in too after the bath if you forgot to do it before the bath.
No, I did it before and after. But
if people forget to do it or before the bath, they can do it after the bath and stick it in the canal. It will still help soak up whatever moisture got into there in the first place.
Right.
Now with the ear cleaner, they typically have some kind of agent in there that helps dry out whatever liquids got down deep in there. I don't suggest pouring ear cleaner in.
That's why it's on the cotton ball.
Paper towel. Cotton balls are easier and it's less abrasive. Be careful if you use Q-tips because one wrong move, that Q-tip's in the dog's brain. Right.
Unless those ginormous ones that have a long stick, I see the vets use them.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay. But even at that, cotton ball works great. Well, that's pretty much it. As far as I know, that's it. Give them some love always afterwards. Let them know that, you were doing something good for them. And that's the video. It's as simple as that. And this is exactly what every single grooming event is like. It doesn't matter if it's this dog or a Shih Tzu or a Great Pyrenees. This is it.
Pitty has an adoption event to get to tomorrow. So hopefully she will be adopted out to a good family. We will be doing a home check before we actually let her go. So she will be coming home with us tomorrow. Pending the application and, like I said, the
full evaluation of everything. You have to look at the application, the house check, make sure they're the right people for the adoption.
Yeah, she'll need to have an area where she can go outside and people who are willing to take her outside multiple times a day, because spending 2 years outside where you can go to the bathroom whenever you want to going in the house and not having that available
Availability, yeah.
So, some kind of doggy door that she can go in and out throughout the day, something like that.
And this is going out May 7th, 2017. So if you are watching this and it's down the road, because a lot of you actually do pay attention to these videos way past the time it was released, you can always go to our Facebook page, the Groomer Next Door Podcast on Facebook, and you can look at our timeline. We will have updates and everything that will be there. And you can always check out our weekly audio podcast on iTunes, Google Play, on YouTube, or anywhere you actually get your podcasts from. You can check it out weekly. You have anything you want to add?
Nope, I'm excited for tomorrow.
I am too. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us this week for our video podcast. I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green, making sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
Bye-bye, everybody.